In this episode, I met with world-renowned violinist and activist Scarlet Rivera to talk about how she uses her music to lend a voice for animals and for the planet. She has played with music legends such as Bob Dylan and Tracy Chapman, released compelling solo albums, and actively stands up for animal rights, indigenous rights, environmental and social justice, and world peace, and is currently working on a new song with the ClimateMusic Project. My name is Kaya Sakamoto, and this is Climate Vibes, a podcast created by the ClimateMusic Project.
Hi, I'm Scarlet Rivera, violinist, composer, activist. And I particularly love the environment and preserving wildlife.
How has music helped you find your voice in advocacy work, in self-expression, or anything else?
Well, I realized many years ago that it was the voice that reached so many people, and therefore it can be used as a platform for the other things that I care about. I was spent many years volunteering at, native and exotic animal sanctuaries and working hands-on with them and seeing up close and personal the devastation that pet trade and the trade in exotic animals has taken on these creatures. And I thought, well, I'm here working on with them one-on-one. What else can I do to help them? Is like, of course, use my music to spread the bigger message. And so I wrote, one of the things I wrote was Voice of the Animals.
And so you've used your music platform to influence change through your album, The Voice of the Animals, and then your latest one, All of Me.
And I played, some significant live concerts and with very influential people to help wildlife, to raise awareness and to raise funds for them too. Mansions and the mayor's mansion in Los Angeles and the Playboy Mansion, and I performed at New York Central Park, International Day of Peace. I mean, many other avenues to help.
And was there a very pivotal moment in your life in regards to music?
Well, I realized how powerful it was when I was invited to be a non-governmental NGO representing the United States to Costa Rica in 2012, and working with the indigenous tribal leaders from all countries of Central and South America, from Nicaragua, Guatemala, Ecuador, the Mayan culture, and two native tribes of the United States, the Hopi and the Mandan tribe of North Dakota. And I was one of the few, the only, this handful of non-indigenous people that was there representing this declaration of peace with Mother Earth that was going to be taken up to the United Nations. And I also performed with the Minister of Culture and Education, who was a great, fantastic keyboard player, and we played at the stadium in the capital of Costa Rica. And we did a duet, and the whole event was to raise awareness about the environment and indigenous rights and harmony with Mother Earth.
Has your work been more widespread, or have you focused your area of activism down to maybe one or two issues?
Well, I mean, my heart really is with the natural world. I mean, human beings are the ones causing this to the environment, although I do stand up, of course, for human rights too. And, the hope that people will elevate, and they are, and coming forward to, care about the environment. and all living creatures. But, I guess my emphasis is on wildlife, animal rights, and the environment versus human rights first.
Yeah, yeah, because you
Can't
can't.
do it all.
Yeah.
But a peace activist I am as well, and I've represented something called the Patrick McCollum Foundation. It's a foundation for peace headed by a tremendous activist, Patrick McCollum, and he has pretty much on the level of Deepak Chopra, and invited to be a global spokesperson for peace, from India to the Soviet Union and the tribal people of the Amazon jungle to, the Dakota pipeline. He was there in North Dakota during the height of that. And I represent the World Peace Violin, which he created, and you can read all about that.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I played in about 2015 for the Nobel Peace Prize laureates gala in Washington D.C., playing that violin for them.
That brings me back to the music part of it. And throughout history, music has been an important part of social movements. Do you think that music just accompanies, or does it make history?
I think it makes history because we're part of the we're the influencers that last. Have the potential to be a lasting voice. I mean, the fact that we play the music of Bach and so many great composers, they're what came as a thought and ended up as music has lasted centuries of influence. And so what I'm doing, what really excellent artists are doing, I think has the potential to last into the future.
I hope so.
Yeah, if there is.
If there is a future.
Don't mean to be pessimistic.
But I mean, it is kind of realistic.
Yeah, but it is a time to worry about that. It really is. I mean, we're at a very critical time of tremendous destruction to this natural ecosystems that are the consequences to humanity are going to be an absolute fact. And they're going to be, as we're experiencing right now, having, increasing devastation to our societies, economically and in health and in all ways. Our own international relations even is disrupting.
Yeah, and so you're starting a collaboration with the ClimateMusic Project.
Yes.
Are you hoping to use that as a new platform to help get people to act, to start doing things, taking different actions?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very excited about working with these scientists. I also, one of the things I've done in the past, I had some wonderful friends that were on the board of directors of the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach. And they worked directly with NOAA, and they were very concerned years ago about what was happening to the ocean life and sea life. Their job as is to educate the public, not just entertain but educate. So, and I was able to do some programs with them as well. So this is like a new platform that kind of picks up where I left off with the Aquarium of the Pacific, because I worked with the president of the aquarium and brought educational programs into them that they adopted. So I want to do something even on a larger level with a ClimateMusic Project that reaches even more people around the world through, once the song is done, and once the video is done, to really spread this virally and through social media on that's kind of redundant.
Global level?
Global level.
Do you already have an idea of what you want your song to be about?
Well, you know what? I probably am going to weave many of the threads that I already wrote for the animals, and to kind of do a tapestry that might include the ocean waves and the sound. I mean, I have a piece that opens with the ocean waves, and it actually was called The Dolphin. And then going into this thing, the sounds of the jungle and the roar of the jaguar, and then into the mournful cry of the wolf and my wolf song. And then weave some in between each of these things, and the statistics and the visuals. I'd like to leave rhythmic patterns that will highlight the statistics and the visuals without a melody, so that really will have more impact on people, just like really paying attention to what the scientists are saying and what the visuals are showing.
That sounds really interesting. I can even picture it now, just like a big tapestry with all the different animals interacting and having a good time.
Yeah, and I have a song for the eagle, which is, the overview. When you want to show a huge overview of what's happening, the eagle is the indigenous animal that sees everything. It's the animal of the north. It's flies high above the spirit in the spirit world, and kind of is the father of all birds, or mother of all birds, seeing what is happening below. And also I might weave in a song that I wrote also years ago called Love the Earth, because the lyrics are kind of ahead of their time, and I wrote it in the 80s, but it's worth bringing back into focus now, because I say, love the earth in all her majesty, graceful majesty, radiant, timeless, the air, the land, the sea, the soul of the forest, the heart of the land, the cry of the wilderness, the signs in the sand. Silent voice of the ages sees the tears of the earth join in one destiny. And there's really powerful music that goes with it. And I will think I would end the piece with that. And you know what was powerful about the musical part of it is, even though it had a beautiful melody, it had these kind of military sounding drums throughout the whole thing, kind of this subliminal military beat, which says, like, a symbol of the military industrial complex, of war, of violence, that is the counterpoint that we're always having to deal with for those who want to love the earth.
Do you think that music has the power to move people deeply in a way that languages and other ways of expression don't?
I do, and I know that for a fact. And I've had people say, even into the mystical and, something that you can't describe. I've had people, tell me they have entered this body of a cheetah while they're listening to my jaguar, and they're running in the forest, and they never felt so free. Or they become they're a power animal. I've had people connect through the eagle song to a deceased person that has come to them while they were listening to the eagle. I've had autistic children, parents, tell me that they had it calmed their kid down who was having an autistic episode, and they would say, "Play the horse again, play the horse again, play the horse again." You know, I envision this incredibly proud warrior, you know, brave, with beautiful paint on his face and feathers and just stately and grand. You know, the horse has got beautiful paintings on its face and ornamental, you know, things woven in his hair. And just the pride of that culture, the majesty of that culture, of the horse culture and the indigenous people that we have taken over their land. I mean, that we are standing on their land, in my opinion.
What inspired that album, The Animals?
Oh, you know, just knowing what was happening to them on a global level, and also reading Rachel Carson's Silent Spring and realizing this is a reality. Silent Spring is on its way. If they do not stop killing these animals, if they do not stop poisoning, trapping, hunting, you know, just saying they're in the way, let's, you know, wipe them out. When I started Voice the Animals, lions were not on the endangered list, and they are now. I mean, probably many of the animals that I was working with or thinking about, some might have gone extinct from the time that I started writing that album to now. And that is a short amount of time.
That's about 20 years or so now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What inspired your latest album, All of Me?
Well, I've been an instrumentalist my whole life, and I thought, you know, that's enough. I don't really want to compete with all these female vocalists. But then, you know, it's not about competing. I don't come from a place of competition in anything I do. I really think is a negative place to come from. I came to a place where I thought, well, you know what? I have something to say. It can't be said instrumentally, and it's time for me to sing it. So, and some of the songs on it are political, like Lady Liberty and Dust Bowl.
Would you say you've evolved as a musician?
I'm ever evolving. You know, we are, whether we like it or not. Unfortunately, some people are de-evolving.
That's true. And so just to end, if you had one message to tell the world, what would it be?
Every single person is the hope of the future that they want to see. You know, ClimateMusic Project, one of their questions was, what sound do you want to hear in the future? And I certainly don't want it to be the sound of silence. I want it to be the sound of birds and wolves howling and lions roaring and dolphins swimming and leaping out of the water.
Thank you to Scarlet Rivera for this interview and for her music. The songs you heard were The Jaguar, The Eagle, The Horse, and Love the Earth. If you want to learn more about Scarlet, you can visit her website, scarletriveramusic.com, or you can check out her work on any streaming platform. Thank you also to Poddington Bear for the song Tender and Curious. My name is Kaya Sakamoto, and you've been listening to Climate Vibes, a podcast by the ClimateMusic Project, an organization that communicates a sense of urgency about the climate crisis, combining climate science with the emotional power of music to drive meaningful action. To learn more, check us out at climatemusic.org.